directors here today. My name is Roxanne Conrad, and I am the chairman of the board of directors of the Bolingbrook Area Chamber of Commerce. And it's my pleasure to introduce my fellow board members here today to start this off. For those of you that are in attendance, if you wouldn't mind standing, let's just wait and give all of them a round of applause at the end. Neil Smith from Robin Schwartz, Mike Wagner from Chick-fil-A, Bob Quinn from Quinn, Meadowcroft, and Makula, Bobby Nuno's Complete Car Care, Teresa Kostick, All Line Car Star, Greg Dover, GAD Group Technologies, Bob Jaskowitz, 12-5 Capital, Randy Farber, Bolingbrook Golf Club, Marie McDonald, BMO Harris Bank, Cliff O'Neill, ATI Physical Therapy, Mir Ali, the Shamrock Companies, Ray Aguayo from American Family Insurance, Derek Cazot from the Bolingbrook Hospital Foundation. Thank you guys so much. This is our board of directors. At this point, I'd like to invite up our mayor, the Honorable Roger C. Clare.
Thank you, Roxanne. I'm going to be up now 2 or 3 times, but it's my privilege to introduce our young lady is going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance to her flag. That is Alicia Benford. She's a DuPage Township trustee here in DuPage Township, Will County, Illinois. She's also a local CPA, been very active in the Chamber of Commerce over the years, and she's also a candidate for the 98th District in the Illinois General Assembly. Alicia.
All rise, please. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Be seated.
Now I'd like to ask a gentleman that's been a Bolingbrook pastor for the last several years. I've got to know him. He's quite a gentleman and a very accomplished gentleman. So I'd like to ask Pastor George Guilford to join me. Pastor Guilford is the founding pastor of Ultimate Faith Christian Center here in Bolingbrook and the author of the best-selling book, Empty of the Harvest. Come on up. This isn't that long. He also is the CEO and founder of Leap of Faith movie and play productions and the Ultimate Faith television network, which operates on a global platform reaching millions of people out of Bolingbrook at 83rd and Janes Avenue. Married to Charlotte Guilford, and they have 4 children.
God bless everyone. Amen. Let's have a big round of applause, amen, for this meeting. And I would like for everyone to bow our heads as we pray. Father God, we give you thanksgiving as we enter and celebrate a new year. And we pray that 2018 is blessed beyond our thoughts, imaginations, because you're able to do exceedingly and abundantly above all that we could ever ask or think. Father, we ask that your blessings be upon all the businesses of the village of Bolingbrook. We ask for economic and financial empowerment to thrive in any and all conditions. We cancel and bind up any and all budget deficits of this region. We pray and speak the blessing of the Lord over the village board of trustees, chambers of commerce, and all the village officials, government workers, that they may operate under the guidance of the Almighty God of heaven and earth. Bless the mayor with increased wisdom, satisfy him with long life, good health, uncommon favor, and that every business deal and earthly blessing works to his favor. Cause him to lean not to his own understanding in difficult situations, but to acknowledge you in all of his ways, that you may direct his path. Father, we pray that you enlarge his territory. We ask all of this in the mighty and matchless name of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, and everybody said, amen.
Pastor Guilford's a young man, but he was going to step off this platform. I said, no, you're at that breaking point where you want to use the stairs. I'm going to do some introductions in about 5 minutes, so enjoy your salads, and then I'll begin speaking about the time you get to your desserts. So thanks for coming today.
Good afternoon, and welcome to the Village of Bolingbrook's annual State of the Village. My name is Kevin O'Keefe. I'm the Executive Director of Bolingbrook Chamber, and I'd just like to introduce my staff before I introduce our keynote speaker. First of all, I'd like to introduce my office manager, Saba Rashid. Saba, I'd like to say I'm in charge and Saba tells me what to do. Second, we have a newer person who works for me, Madison Ducci, who's the manager of member services and events. Madison, back there. And finally, Tom Altoff. Tom's right here, who's in charge of membership development. At this time, it is my honor to introduce the keynote speaker for today for State of Village, the Honorable Mayor Roger C. Clare.
Couple of housekeeping things. First of all, we have maps available as you leave if you'd like a current map. They'll be at the door. I'm not sure, I assume the center door here. New Village map was just printed this last week, so it's the latest and greatest. Also have the handout we used to put out at every spot, but frankly, at the end of lunch, we found a lot of people looked at it and left it. So to economize, there's 250 of them available here, and it'll be posted online today. So if you'd like to look at it in detail, it'll be online, as the map is also online. We have a paper that's in every seat, I believe, or was supposed to be. It's the history of the Bolingbrook Regional Stormwater Plan and the Bolingbrook Golf Club. This club has its critics, but the club was built around a stormwater management plan to collect water through the lake system that's on this course. And we'll be paid back as people build and use that stormwater plan and pay a contribution back to us. This gives you that history. Oh, there's also a sheet of paper that shows you the largest employers in Bolingbrook. I think we had 25 of them listed. And then we have a list of the corporate headquarters in Bolingbrook. And I'm going to stress those 20 corporate headquarters weren't here just a few years ago. And we're very proud to have a lot of them. That's also will be put online today, too, for those of you that would like to look at it in more detail or pick up a copy as you leave. Introductions. I'd like to talk about and introduce some people to you that I think many of you know or need to know. This is my 32nd year of delivering this State of the Village address. The first one was at a place called the Two Rivers Sports Bar, which is now going to be a senior citizen home. So I guess I started a sports bar. It's a different building. I mean, maybe it should be in the same building. Anyway, we then moved to the Holiday Inn when it was built, but we ran out of capacity there. And today, I believe there are 650 people. Approximately 650 people, and this is the Reagan Ballroom and the Bolingbrook Golf Club. I'm a proud member of the Bolingbrook Lions Club, which is probably the most, not probably, it's the most active and largest civic club in Bolingbrook. And I always use this podium to let you know. And if anybody's interested in being in the Lions Club, see me or there's folks at the table over here. We have a lot of Lions here today. Next, I'd like to thank Bolingbrook Community Television. They've got about 8 people today with the different cameras, all the screens, everything's been set up. Jim and Judy Shinger are in charge of the BCT, but they have a whole crew of several other people. And then I want to get into the introductions, but I also want to mention one thing that I added this morning. On the way out here, I listened to a newscast, and it stressed the importance of everybody getting a flu shot. Now, just so you know, I don't have stock in CVS or Walgreens or anything else. But the flu thing is serious this year, and if you're not paying attention, you need to pay attention. 49 of the 50 states have a spike in flu cases. The only one that doesn't, frankly, is Hawaii, but they got other issues to deal with. But you need to get a flu shot. And I'm just telling you, a lot of health insurance policies is free. You can go to Walgreens, in and out in 20 minutes. Sure, the CVS the same way, perhaps your own doctor. But one special message I heard this morning too, the 142 people have died related to flu in a place called San Diego. Got the message? Also like to thank Randy Farmer, the GM of the Bolingbrook Golf Club, who has submitted his resignation and is moving on to a different position. Oh, come on, you do better than that. Oh. Where are you, Randy? Back over here. Randy's moving on to a business outside of golf course management, and general manager of a clubhouse will be something in his past, although who knows, he may be back. Randy's done a fine job for 9 years, 10 years. So we'll be, I don't know who the new person will be, but we will be hiring somebody new. Steve Lesnick. Steve, are you here? Steve Lesnick over here is the CEO of Kemper Sports. They're the group that we've hired to manage this facility since it opened in 2002. And we'll be meeting with Steve Lesnick as well as Steve Skinner, the president, to find a replacement hopefully very, very soon, and that will be announced. I'd like to thank my friend Pastor Gilbert for the invocation today. I'd like to introduce to you a gentleman that I've known for several years, Dr. Nick Stella. He's a got to stand up, Nick. That's the way we do this. Nick Stella, he's a candidate for Congress in the 11th District. Will do a fine job, certainly better than what we have now. And he's my cardiologist. So I'm with him. I was told Senator Pat McGuire is here, but I've not seen him. David Olson, the state representative, was here, but had to go to a meeting at Argonne with the governor, had to step out. Kathy Havel, the Will County Republican chairman, is here today. Kathy, thank you. We have a candidate for Will County clerk, Lori McPhillips. We have a candidate for Alicia Benford, I introduced earlier, did the Pledge of Allegiance for state representative. And a gentleman that's been in Bolingbrook numerous times, who's been very helpful in our programs with youth, which I've been very impressed with because they don't have to do that as a judge. But he's taken a very strong interest in working with the HEART program and young people, and I appreciate that as a sitting judge to do that. Running for circuit judge, and that's Ben Braun. Ben, thank you. And a quick county board meeting today. I'm told it was quick. We have our county executive, a friend for many, many years, back before he was even state rep, I believe, or senator. That's Larry Walsh, our county executive. Larry, thanks for being here. John Grueling, Will County Center of Economic Development. I have not seen him, but I'm told he's here. Oh, there he is over here. Ken Harris, Will County Board Member in District 4. Again, I've not seen him, but I'm told back over here. Jackie Janier, Will County Board District 4. Hugh O'Hare, Will County Governmental League Executive Director. Mike Hennessy, who's out about every day. I don't think the United Way could find a better executive director. This man is everywhere, all over Will County, done a fine job for, I don't know how many years, but probably 15 or 20, maybe more. Mike Trench, Community Foundation of Will County. Mike, I haven't seen Mike either, but I'm told he's here somewhere. A good friend, former mayor of Lamont, Rick Kwasniewski, the chairman of the PACE Board. Rick. With him, a staff member from PACE. We provide PACE, free office space, at the Village Hall in Bolingbrook. A lot of governmental agencies would charge another agency for that purpose, but I appreciate PACE willing to come there and provide services for our business community. And this young lady, Beth Gonzalez, Beth, please stand. Beth is somebody that's probably met with some of you arranging transportation for employees on the PACE system throughout Chicagoland, particularly here in Will County. And of course, as we grow, as we prosper and have more and more business that need and people that need to get to work, she can arrange that. And they really provide bus service for people from many suburbs here to Bolingbrook. So thanks for what you do, Beth. A couple of colleagues we have from Naperville, the mayor of Naperville, Steve Turco. Steve, would you please stand? Oh, come on, stand up. The neighbor of Woodridge, Gina Cunningham. Gina, thank you for coming. The current mayor of Lamont, John Agoski. John? Mayor of West Chicago, I'm not sure he's here yet. He's on his way. Mayor Ruben Pineda. Ruben, are you here? He will be here, but he's coming. And an alderman of West Chicago. Many of you know her from past years, and with ComEd and Comcast. Now she's an alderman, Noreen Kaminsky. She just chose to wave. Raquel Mitchell, Wheatland Township trustee. Todd Shalene, a trustee from Barrington. Todd, after we're done, I'd like to meet you. I mean, never had a trustee from Barrington here before. I'd like to say hello. Bolingbrook Park District, we have Jerry Hicks, the president. Sue Westala, the vice president. Al Trazak, member. Denise Allen, member. Melissa McLeod, member. And Ron Ostreich, the director, executive director. Valley View School Board. Haven't seen him. Frankly, I haven't heard him either. President Steve Quigley. Must not be feeling well. I haven't heard you yet today. Member Liz Campbell. Member Deb Scora. Member Diane Perro. Member James or JT Baduras. Sally Gilbo and Victor Zach. And Dr. James Mitchum, the superintendent. Not seen him either. And he's hard to miss. Stand up. He's hard to miss. There he is. Hey. DuPage Township Supervisor Bill Mayer. Jean Kelly, assessor, would normally be here, but she had a death in the family and cannot be. Trish Stack, clerk. Gary Hoffman, collector. Again, Alicia Bedford, trustee. Dennis Raga, trustee. Mary Pat Oliver, trustee. And Ken Burgess, trustee. Fountaindale Library Board, Peg Danhoff, president. Tom Gilligan, member. Steve Prodell, member. Bob Kalnicki, member. Ruth Newell, member. Kathy Spindell, member. Marcela Valencia, member. And Paul Mills, executive director, are all here. Other people I'd like to mention, I'd like to thank particularly the employees that are a member of Operating Engine 150. Normally when unions show up, the union pays their ticket. These are foremen with the Village of Bolingbrook. They came up with a platinum sponsorship today and paid their own meal out of their own pocket. And I thank you and appreciate your interest in the future of the Village of Bolingbrook. And also the Public Works Utility employees, a member of another union, but yet they came out of their own pocket, gold sponsors. So thanks to 150 foremen and they want Public Works and Utility people. We have with us the Consul General. The country of Pakistan has the 10 states, Faisal Ramizi. Along with him is Amir Sultan, and of course their company with Talat Rashid, one of our community leaders. And this is not a person that's here. In fact, I haven't even met this person, but I was very impressed when I read in Cranes, Ulta Products, the Ulta stores, I think there's 600 of them around the country. Their corporate headquarters here in Bolingbrook, in what's called the Tall Grass Building. It used to be Tel Labs years ago. Mary Dillon is the CEO and has been for several years. She got to do something that I think's got to be a kick. She got to ring the bell to open a stock exchange. And I got a kick out of seeing that. Ulta Products, Bolingbrook, Illinois, opened a stock exchange. So congratulations, Mary, and I hope to meet you someday. A couple more things. Netflix announced this week that they're coming out with a movie starring Jack Black. I don't know if you know, he's a comedian. And the paper's it's going to call, I'm not sure, I don't have the title. It's going to be Steve Kaminsky, a resident, is a musical director and wrote and arranged the songs that will be in this movie. So it's very proud of Steve. It's a movie about a Polish songwriter and singer, and it's an honor to have him in Bolingbrook. Former trustees, Sandy Swinkunas, Gretchen Schroeder, and Joe Morelli are here. Please stand. They haven't had enough of this. Special shout out to Terry Bethune. It's her birthday today. She wouldn't tell me how many. Parade Grand Marshal this year, Ed Schrader, Rocket Ice Street. Ed's sitting here. There we go. Now, for those of you that are older, that's Bobby Hall, if you have a famous Blackhawks player, Hall of Famer, who's been at this club several times, frankly. Citizen of the Year, Calvin Quarles, male Citizen of the Year. Calvin, where are you? I know you're here. Stand up and wave. Peggy McMillan, Female Citizen of the Year. Ron and Kathy Spindell, Family of the Year. And I don't know if Ron's here or not. He's a little tight with the money. But Ron confidentially told me after it was announced their family of the year that it really was all about him. You know, Ron, you know what that means. Now I'd like to introduce quickly the department heads, the trustees, and then we'll take another break and come back. Lucas Rickelman, Director of Public Service and Development. Ken Temple, Director of Public Safety. Rosa Calhoun, Director of Finance. My right arm, left arm, Jim Bone, the Village Attorney. Dan Motomini, our Building Commissioner. Matt Eastman, our Planner. James Farrell, who's operating the PowerPoint today, assistant to me, as well as the IT Director. Jerry Strickland, Facilities Coordinator, is not here today. He's been ill. Hopefully we'll see him back soon. And from the Executive Department, Barb Cunningham and Fran Miller, who also are a big help to getting this done. I would also be remiss if I didn't mention my wife, Dr. Patricia Clare, who finished her doctorate this year. And our daughter, Lindsay. This picture was taken at Christmas. And of course, that young lady in the middle is Samantha Joy, who celebrated her 3rd birthday, October 25th. And that's Papa's Christmas present. And she wants to come to Bolingbrook, 2,000 miles away. Anyway, I didn't understand what grandkids meant until you have one. Those of you that don't have grandchildren, believe me, it's a feeling it's impossible to describe. Bolingbrook Village Board, Village Clerk Carol Penning. I don't know where she's sitting, but she's here, over here. Trustee Mike Lawler, Deputy Mayor and Trustee. Trustee Rick Morales. Trustee Maria Zarate. Trustee Teresa Hoagland. Trustee Sheldon Watts. Trustee Bob Jazowitz. Now, each year, first of all, I was kind of fascinated today on the internet. Somebody said, it costs money to go to the State of the Village. This is not a Bolingbrook event. It's a Chamber of Commerce event. I'm just speaker. Chamber of Commerce is putting this together. But they have, over the years, allowed me to take $10 per attendee to donate to some non-for-profit charitable groups here in Bolingbrook, which I've always done. I'd like to mention those real quick. These people will be getting $1,000 apiece. First one is Ready, Set, Ride. Leslie, are you here today? Leslie Carabusa from Ready, Set, Ride. Heart Haven Outreach, Ryan Lawrence, I know you're here, $1,000. Leroy Brown Scholarship Foundation, $1,000. Marcela Valencia Boxing, $1,000. Black History Month Awareness, $1,000. A person you may not recognize his name, but a resident, Jimmy Choi. Jimmy's got Parkinson's disease, had it for years, been fighting the good fight. Started a program called the Shake It Off 5K. He's raising money for Parkinson's. He's met Michael J. Fox. He was on the American Ninja Warrior this past few months, and I was impressed that he came within like the last thing you have to do to win. We were all pulling for him. That would have been great for a man with that, to have the stick-to-itiveness to enter that and do it, but he fell a little short, but so $1,000 to that, Parkinson's. Answer 650, that's only $1,000 items, but there's 50 more people, so Kevin, I'm going to take advantage of that too. $500 to the Bolingbrook High School Music Program. All right, take just a little break. We'll come back and we'll do the, I'll start my remarks. So got about a 10-15 minute window there. Thanks. Those of you here before, this is not a short remark, and I want to stress when I do this, I'm talking to two audiences. One, the Chamber of Business community, but two, this will be broadcast on Bolingbrook Community Television, So I'm also talking to residents. So there may be a couple of topics that the business community say, why is he bringing that up? I may qualify those with that comment when I get to them, but I'm talking to both groups, and I hope you understand that. But I'd like to report, the chamber just reported to me, they'd like to take the 500 of the Bolingbrook Music Program and increase that to 1,000 too. So thank you, Chamber of Commerce. Equally as important, Tom Grasecki, CEO of Northern Builders, who built many, many buildings in this town, came up and said he'd like to match the $1,000 for the Leroy Brown Foundation. I always start with people that have unfortunately passed away. I feel compelled to acknowledge people of notoriety in town because of what their service was to the community or their participation in the community. Kind of a downer, I understand that, but I like to start with that. It really doesn't fit anywhere else in the comments. I don't want to end with it. So I'm going to start with naming a couple people. Some of you may not know them. Some of these folks I've gotten up there in years, like me and others. Jasper Rantalo, a very active veteran, Vietnam vet. John Beckwith, same. Bud Simonson, Lena Kotalik, Cindy Gibbons, an active member of Rotary in the Chamber. Mary Lou Haskey, our village clerk's mother, who everybody loved. Pages sticking together. Joanne Robinson, pictures here. She's been here many, many times. Director of the Heart Program. Joanne suddenly passed away this year and has certainly been missed. And the Heart Program is trying to continue on without her, but she's a great lady. Steve Foster, a volunteer at many, many events, JC's, Great Corps, Beautification Commission, and was a great guy at tailgate parties at Soldier Field. Right, Bill? Joe Doshbach, big high school athletic supporter. Dolores Milam, Mike Milam's mother. Didn't know her, but I've talked to Mike many times. Catherine Hayes, wife of Fred Hayes, the police chief in Romeo for many, many years. Dolly Kramer lived on Harwood Heights, right next to the Rocket Ice Arena. He came to me when I was a trustee, invited me to a function. He would cook food at his house and collect Christmas presents for the needy. He did that the entire time I knew him. Finally passed away. John Antonelli, a former fire lieutenant, familiar base the post office. Keith Barton, you know, as they say, behind every good woman is a good man. That's the way it is, isn't it? That was Keith Barton to Marty Barton. Marty's here today. I haven't seen her, but a great guy. Dave Estala, husband of Sue Estala, Park District Commissioner again, was always there with Sue. And of course, like most of you probably heard, we had a very bizarre traffic accident in Ireland when one of our police officers, Steve Alexander, was over there to attend a funeral of a relative, and he, his brother, and his parents were all killed in a car accident while there. Kenny Lehner. Many of you didn't know Kenny Lehner, but Kenny Lehner was general manager at Homer's Chicago Stone Quarry. They had 7 quarries in Chicagoland, 2 in Bolingbrook, 1 on 126, 1 on Royce Road. Kenny Lehner was a big help to this village, but a guy that was very silent about it. When Sandy Swinkunis wanted to put up a stone rock configuration behind Village Hall called a sitting stone, Kenny Lehner got the stone for us out of the quarry. The original memorial in front of Village Hall, Elmer Stone brought all the stone to that. When we enlarged it a few years later, they brought off additional stone. He was very cooperative building a bike path along Royce Road, which is now in. If you have a drive Royce Road, you'll see it. Bike path. Elmer Stone, under his leadership, built a spillway, which will hopefully alleviate much of the flooding on Royce Road, the Royce Road Bridge. And most recently, he donated the stone for the Vietnam Veteran Memorial, which I'll show in a moment. Another guy, my neighbor, we were political opponents, but we always respected each other. It wasn't the hate you see today. Ed Rosenthal. Ed was mayor of this town 1981 to 1985. Great guy, great sense of humor, school teacher, golf coach. Kids loved him. Had tributes that never ended when he passed. And our backyards touch each other. So we were always neighbors, but again, political opposition, but we always had a great deal of respect for each other's opinion. Just recently, a tragic accident. Greg Dover, businessman here in town, former IT director of Village Hall, got a phone call on New Year's Day that his son, 29 years old, was killed in a car accident in California. I'd just like to get that phone call on New Year's Day. Tragic accident. And last, and certainly not least, Bolingbrook resident, long time, Vietnam veteran, Green Beret, Vietnam. Gentle giant, 6'4" or 5", I don't know, a lot bigger than I am. Was deputy mayor for 17 years, village trustee for 25, a personal friend, a great friend of Bolingbrook. He was born in 44, appointed police and fire board in 1980, trustee in 1993, reelected 6 times, appointment of deputy mayor in June of 2000, 17 and a half years, longest serving trustee in Bolingbrook's history, although Rick Morales may be passing that this year. Most popular man in Bolingbrook. I can say that without hesitation. Leroy Brown was by far the most popular man in Bolingbrook. With us today is his widow, Pat Brown. Pat, would you? He was always there with him. Now, I've got some other pictures of Leroy. This is Leroy, a proud veteran, always wearing Army fatigues or Army clothes of some kind. Proud of that. With him is Tony Grayhouse. Here he is at his retirement party. He was director of security at Sears Tower for many years. Pat and I will be able to join him there. Here he is at the Rotary Club. They honored him as a longtime public servant and gave him what they call a Paul Harris Fellow. That's the word to get, I believe, in Rotary. Here he is again. It's a veteran. That's our memorial. Very proud veteran. Here he is in a walk. He's in a 5K. You see, notice Leroy's walking, and Trustee Lawler has to run to keep up with him. And here he is. He was one of the founding members of H2O, the Heart Haven Outreach Program mentioned earlier, speaking. And this is the memorial, the Vietnam Veterans Memorial was just unveiled on Veterans Day. I think it's just stunning. That's Pat Brown and I. That stone's the one, back up a minute. That stone's the one that was donated by Elmer Stone Quarry. They brought it down for us. Came out of the quarry on Royce Road. I know it's hard to read here, but Leroy was going to speak at Veterans Day service. He was our keynote speaker. And instead, we dedicated it to his memory. Kind of ironic how that worked out, but it's to Leroy Brown's memory. There will be a plaque added directly in front of it commemorating Leroy and his accomplishments. And this is a picture of Leroy with the copy of the plaque that's going to go in with his son Lee Jr. and Jeff. So thank you to Leroy Brown for what. In that process, I'd like to also acknowledge Award Emblem here in Bolingbrook. We went to Award Emblem. You all know Peggy McMillan. Peggy, where are you? Stand up. Where you at, Peg? Peggy McMillan. She wanted to, and I concurred, honor Vietnam veterans who, for those of you that are older, know they never were welcomed home. They were treated very terribly because they got caught up in what was clearly a political war. 58 or 9,000 men and women died in that process. And when they came home, there's stories they were spit on, ignored. And most of them, I know, don't even want to talk about it. They don't even talk about their experience. Anyway, Peggy came and said, "Can we go back to that monument, please?" Peggy said, "We need to do something to honor him." And I concurred. And we planned on this. We worked on it for several months. And we went to Award Emblem here in Bolingbrook. Bob Klein, Jason Klein, I believe are here. I don't know, where you at? Oh, we're here. Stand up, please. Bob and Jason Klein stepped up and helped us put this together. It's made out of brass. It's absolutely gorgeous. You can't tell it, but the background is green. The country of Vietnam is in white, and on the left-hand side, it's hard to see, is a helicopter, which was like a symbol of Vietnam, all the helicopters, Huey helicopter. Just beautiful plaque, and of course at the bottom is the POW-MI flag. So I think it's just absolutely gorgeous. As you drive in Village Hall, you see it. It's right on your right. You can't miss it. So if you can, maybe drive, look at it. But thanks to Award Emblem for putting that together. And Shelley too. Shelley actually did all the work. Eagle Scouts. Bolingbrook's proud to have 240 Eagle Scouts in history. I've been able to attend about 185 of those courts of honor. It's always a treat. These are listed the Eagle Scouts we have. One I'd like to highlight in particular, Dan Carter. Dan Carter is the 5th Eagle Scout in his family. Got to be some kind of a record. He has a brother that will soon be an Eagle Scout for 6, and the father is an Eagle Scout. I mean, is that a story or what? If you're into scouting, that's just absolutely very, very special. Kimberly Foster received her Girl Scout Gold Award this year, which is the equivalent to Eagle Scout Award. And I've got a gentleman here today that just got his bachelor's and master's at Case Western University, Brian Perro. He's also an Eagle Scout. Stand up, Brian. Bolingbrook High grad, and has got a job waiting for him in March in Cleveland, and in the interim, he's working with me on some things. Kind of an intern, although the guy with the master's degree is off an intern, but it's great to have him on board, and is going to have a very bright future, but a product of the Scout program. We also launched a new web page and Bolingbrook app, which you can all access easily. Download it from Google or whatever else, the App Store, wherever that A symbol on your phone. Press on it. Sister cities. We took delegations in past years to China, the Philippines, and India, and we're preparing to take another delegation to Pakistan, where we have a sister city with a city called Sialkot. As I mentioned earlier, the Consul General has been to Bolingbrook probably 25 or 30 times, probably more than any place else in his 10 or 11 state domain. Faisal Tremezi, he's a great guy. I had dinner with him several times, and he's always a pleasure to sit and talk with. Think about taking a delegation there too. We have, like I said, sister cities with Qingdao, China, San Pablo, the Philippines, and Sialkot, Pakistan, and we want to visit that city. Now, I want to tell you a little bit about, a couple other things. We plan to visit it. The city, not the country, well, the country too, but the city is known for manufacturing. And one of their most famous products, soccer ball. Over 40% of the soccer balls used in the World Cup and so on, are manufactured in Sialkot, Pakistan. I want to tour that factory. Talat Rashid brought this back on his last trip to Pakistan, and it's autographed and signed by the president of the soccer ball company. So, this is another one, very beautiful balls. This last one is more of a handout, but you know what's big in Sialkot and Pakistan? Lions clubs. This one has several Lions Club logos from different clubs throughout Pakistan. So you think Lions Club is like only unique in this country? Pakistan is also very unique, and the bidding starts at By the way, these trips we take and will take are not paid for by taxpayers' dollars, so don't have to go there. Republic of Congo, Silver Malongo and his wife Jackie are here. Stand up, please. Where are you at? Over here. They have established an office in their home to serve as a counselor to accommodate Congolese activities with 8 Midwestern states. So the Congo's council office is located here in Bolingbrook. They had a ceremony on November 11th. A number of people came, including the Directors of Americas and Caribbean of Foreign Ministry of that country. Fernand Odako was present. The council officers from 30 different countries were in Bolingbrook for that ceremony. Ken Temple, Director of Public Safety, and I attended it. He is in charge of 9 states visitors since he's been here. We have had visitors from Argentina, Brazil, France, and Turkey here in Bolingbrook. This is a ceremony that was held in front of his house. Those are the dignitaries who were present. And I had to, of course, give him a Bolingbrook pin. And the gentleman from the Congo. Crime rate was down again in Bolingbrook. It's the lowest it's been in over 20 years. Special Olympics this year, the police department, officer of the police department, and their time spent raised $12,000 in the polar plunge. I think it'd be easier just to give them a donation, wouldn't it? Promenade, Tom Castanoli's here from the Promenade. Above the Promenade are offices, 42,000 square feet of office space. It's 100% leased, so it's doing very, very well. One of the tenants that's grown considerably since being there, have over 100 employees now. This idea started in his garage. They make a product which I featured here a couple years ago. It's a box, like a black box on an airplane. It's not black, it's violet, I think. It's called violet. It's purple, I think, for railroad trains. It's the kind of thing, had that train in Washington had in it, would have stopped it from going to 90-mile-hours or forewarned people to stop it. So it's a great product, and it's made right here in Bolingbrook on the second floor of the Promenade Mall. Where's Larry Jordan? Stand up, Larry. President and CEO, right there. And last week, he was featured in Cranes, his product. I was disappointed in Lee Murphy, the author who failed to mention corporate headquarters in Bolingbrook, Illinois. Lee will get an email. Robin Schwartz Law Firms there, Progressive Insurance, Public Storage, and Knight Engineering. Jim Wolf. Jim, where are you? Here somewhere. President and CEO of Knight Engineering. Jim said he was looking for office space, get out of the city or out of some other suburb. I won't mention the suburb. I said, well, come on down. And he did, and they like it there a lot. The mall is 94% leased, which is 3% higher than a national average. I'm sure you've all said or read that they're saying that a third of the malls that exist in this country today will probably be gone in 10 years because of the huge shift in retailing. And trust me, folks, this is the shift in retailing is what keeps people like myself awake at night, worrying about that. You know, you all saw that he has closed a whole bunch of stores, a national retailer, and those things just come out like that. You know, there's no forewarning. You don't know where it's going to end. You'd have a new store coming in March, though. It's unfortunately coming out of maybe Woodridge, sorry. Pro Jersey Sports. Woodridge, Downers Grove. They're in that place where Woodridge, Darien, and Downers Grove all come together. Promenade Restaurants. This is one of the big attractions we have. You have Alamorada at Bass Pro, Ted's Montana Grill, Bar Louie, the Salt of iPick, Francesca's Beer Market, Gordon Birish, which is now we call Rock Bottom, Mago Grill, BD Mongolian Grill, Pork Chop, and most recently, Mora Asian Kitchen. It's a second restaurant by a gentleman who started one in Plainfield. Very successful, and you should stop and try it. It's right there in the center of the mall, great outdoor patio, which will be fun. Not so much right now, but certainly this spring. Janes Avenue also is doing very well. We have the Longhorn Steakhouse. We added IHOP. Myers created an outlet, and they're going to put in a couple of new Chipotle going in with a Mod Pizza. Mod stands for Made on Demand. So it's a quick service pizza place. There's 200 of them worldwide here and in Europe. And there's also a Tesla charging station, which was put at the Promenade. Golf course and clubhouse to be successful. We have events, Bo Jackson Celebrity Charity, March of Dimes, Muscular Dystrophy, Boys and Girls Club, American Cancer, St. Baldrick's. I'd like to again thank Sergeant John Sullivan, now retired, and Commander, not retired, Rich Hilliard, the Bolingbrook Police Department, for organizing this program. Over the years, they've raised $1,480,000 with St. Baldrick's. In this ballroom, those two guys have headed up, and I compliment them for their tenaciousness and fundraising ability. But we also have with us today another guy who raises money for St. Baldrick's, and I think you want to see this. Tom Grasecki again, Northern Builders. Got it, James? This is his house last couple of weeks ago.
Guy in history of the village of Bolingbrook. And you treated him like a family, this guy. Yeah. Everywhere you went, we were reading.
I had to do that, Tom. My wife and family drove up there to see it because it was featured in like the 7 o'clock or 6 o'clock news. That doesn't do it justice. It's just stunning. I mean, it's like you're in the Magic Kingdom. And he stands out front and gets donations for St. Baldrick's and hands out candy canes to people. Class guy, Tom Grasecki. Other places this weekend, we have the Joliet Catholic Jubilante is going to be here, St. Francis Caritas Ball, Lions Club of Golf Outing, H2O Golf Outing, Citizens with Disabilities, Ready, Set, Ride. This place is just a hub of events for people to gather
and do good things for other people. Rocket Ice Arena, introduced Ed Schrader earlier, was Jan Marshall Parade, had another great year. A couple of pictures here. There's Bobby Hull, Brett Sopel, Tommy Hawk is here almost every year. They have hockey teams from all over the country come here for training. One of their instructors is going to go to the Olympics. They have another, these are groups that come in across country. They fill up our hotels, and if you ever drive down Canterbury next to the post office, almost any given night, you won't find a parking spot. And you see these people carrying in what appear to be, I mean, hockey equipment. It's been a big plus to Bolingbrook. So thank you again, Ed, for your investment. Bolingbrook Soccer Club had 145 teams in this year. 145, they fill the hotels, and it's a great thing. It's on the fields at Hassert and Weber. A lot of out-of-time visitors. Cricket hosted a tournament here on 4th of July, the Liberty Cup. 8 teams, international players came in for that. Again, used our hotels. It's the second facility that is internationally recognized. There are only 3 players that are in Bolingbrook are on a national team for cricket. Valencia Boxing, I mentioned earlier, is getting $1,000. Marcelo does a great job in a program for young people. H2O, of course, continues to do well. Heart program. We lost Joanne Robinson, but Dr. Leonard Ingerman's working with that again, along with the help of Judge Ben Braun. Judge have to go to court? Yes. I feel sorry for those people. No, he's a great guy. Theater on the Hill. Theater on the Hill has been going on in Bolingbrook for years. They use our theater behind Village Hall. In the summertime, of course, they have the doors open. In the wintertime, the door is down and they perform the plays inside. A lot of local people, I know Brian's helped them. Young people are involved, old people, anybody who wants to do anything acting, you can be an actor, try out for plays, or you can do other things. These are pictures from the plays. It really is a great, and it's very, very inexpensive. They do charge admission to help cover their costs, but highly recommended if you get a chance. Michael Fidala, the president's here. Michael, where are you? Over there. Thank you for coming. Adventist Health Medical Center. MEDA, Adventist Health Medical Center. Had a meeting this week with Bruce Christian. Bruce, CEO. Where are you sitting, Bruce? Well, stand up, Bruce. Yeah, thank you. Had a meeting with Bruce. They're doing lots of things. They've got a lot of things in planning. One of the things they're going to do, and this will be good for our EMT people, they're going to build an enclosure around the emergency area so that vehicles don't sit out in the weather, which is going to be a big plus and help the transition for people needing to get assistance. They're also going to be studying the feasibility of adding a cancer center along with an infusion center and radiation oncology, which would be a big plus for our residents. And what I found really interesting, and I'd like to see it when it gets here, they're also planning addition of the latest generation robot to enhance surgical services, which I'm sure that's an inexpensive item. Illinois Aviation Museum, this year the kids, and there were hundreds of kids involved, built an airplane. I welded one spot just because but they built this from scratch, from a kit, and they have flown it. It was certified by FAA, so it's part of that, and you see sponsors help put it together. There's a couple of people working on it, kids and adults through the Young Explorers program at the airport. The airport also provides a testing area for FAA, and they have hundreds of people take tests to be certified to continue to be a pilot at our education facility within the airport. 156 tests were taken to the museum this past year. It's one of the busiest general aviation airports. Had 25,000 visitors to our cavalcade of planes held every June. If you haven't done that, bring your grandkids, bring your kids, or just come yourself. It's fascinating. And they've got a great little restaurant, serves breakfast and lunch, Charlie's. If you haven't been to Charlie's, great chicken noodle soup. Got to try it. STEM program. STEM is big in Bolingbrook, rolled out this past month. Thanks Sheldon Watts for putting it together. STEM stands for science, technology, engineering, and math. It's a new trend that's going across the country to help young people, grade school, elementary, and high school, to get interested in school through some very good activities. I would equate it, for those of you that got gray hair, as watch Mr. Wizard. Remember Watch Mr. Wizard? They build things, and it's fascinating what they do. These are the graduates. They put together a robot. They all did, and then they had this ring where they had robots would challenge each other, and they programmed and controlled them. They built it from scratch, so very impressive program. Again, thank you, Sheldon. Illinois American Water, they're here today. You know, we're condemning them. It's been in court for years. Mayor Cunningham, Mayor Ogoski from Woodridge and Lamont have been very helpful, and John Noak, Mayor O's 5 communities. We're trying to condemn them to control rates, bring stability to the rate structure. Emerald Ash Borer, to date, we've cut down, and I mentioned this now for several years, 9,700 trees were cut down in Bolingbrook that were affected by the Emerald Ash Borer. We replaced 8,700 of them. So we got more work to do, and there's more going to die. And the sad part of this, we're spending millions on this, and when we get done, you know, we got same thing we had before. Just a shame that that little critter came here. LED lights. This year, this past 2 or 3 months, we replaced 5,365 street lights with LED lights. Very expensive program. We got a grant from ComEd for $1 million to help offset the $2.3 million cost, but the LED lights will have a payback within 2 to 3 years, so it's well worth the investment. So it's a program was a long time coming. We worked on that for probably close to 2 years because it's like buying electronics equipment. About the time you get one picked out, they come out with a better one. But we got a 10-year parts and labor on the lights, so they replace them for 10 years, and the lights themselves, so we're very happy with it, plus we'll save a lot on electricity. Next, you see Weber Road as it stands, and the second slide is Weber Road as it will be, hopefully. That project's been delayed numerous times. I know Larry Walsh, County Executive, would like to get this off his list of things to do. I've been told now the bid date has been pushed off till like March. It's been put off a number of times, partially because of the state's dysfunctional budgetary measures. But eventually you're done. Route 126, an interchange that we suggested, it's got the support of Plainfield and Romeoville. The left is what it is now. The right would be a full interchange. And frankly, I believe if that interchange were done first, it would alleviate a lot of the problems at Weber Road, because people could get on here from South Naperville, North Plainfield, and not have to take Remington or Rodeo, not Remington, Rodeo or Hassert to get on Weber to get on 55. But the state only works from Chicago that way, you know. Can't get out of order. Next, you see Bolingbrook's road plans. In addition, the red star is where we are, the golf course. Tom Grosecki and Northern Builders bought that farm just to the right of it, and they're going to be putting in a road starting this summer, which will go from Dalton on the right-hand side to the intersection right out here by the fire station, where we will build a roundabout. It will not be a stoplight intersection, a roundabout. You have them all over the East Coast and Europe. They work very, very well, and it saves a lot of time and moving traffic. The next project will be King Road from the south up to Hassert Boulevard will be completed. Not this year. It's projects on the books. I know, if you know. Well, we're waiting for state grants. We can't get any money out of the state. They can't commit to any projects. And then the last phase are some other roads, which will be Essington, Hassert Boulevard, 115th Street will be extended through the property, but the home builder who buys that empty farmland will pay for that road exclusively. So that's why that won't be done until it's sold. And the Remington Boulevard will be taken all the way to our border on the west, and a piece of Remington will be improved. Now, we don't have to bond to do anything else in this village. We have public works facility, we have a town center, we have 5 fire stations, we have a stormwater plant that's done and installed. Those are the only roads left that I just described, and that's all going to be done with local gas tax money and state grants. So we're done with our debt. All we do now is pay it off. So that's the good news. Myself and the board felt, let's put the infrastructure in, and as people come here, and many of them came here because we did that work. WeatherTech. I asked Dave McNeil, who's got a huge investment, huge, in Bolingbrook. Dave McNeil, I said, I'd like to say I brought Dave McNeil to Bolingbrook. I can't. He came here and bought buildings, or a building. And I said, what brought you here? He's in Downers Grove now in our business park, Wisconsin Avenue, that area up there. He said, I like what you've done with your business parks. The divided road, the center median, grassy median, not concrete, grassy median, the street lights in the center that spill over the lanes, not onto the other properties. That's what a business park should look like. That's the infrastructure we invested in to bring WeatherTech and their 17 properties, G&W Electric, Honeywell, ATI, the list goes on and on and on. So that investment is what brought those people here. Royce Road. Royce Road's going to have a stoplight installed this year at 53 and Royce. It was that too was supposed to be done last year, but issues with funding and so forth have held it up. Hotels, Residence Inn opened this year. We have around 950 hotel rooms in Bolingbrook now, and there are many nights you can't find a room in this town. So they're all filled. We're working, Tony Grayhouse is working with us to help bring more people in on the weekends. Tourism, we're working on tourism, and we have a tourism thing to sell. Holiday Inn was just totally revamped this year. And they put in it, they've doubled their lounge, you've ever been in it. It was a very small service kind of lounge. Now it's been doubled. They call it Hanover and Hardee's. And I thought, that's kind of an odd name for a lounge. I said, what does that mean? The Holiday Inn concept was created from the movie in 1942, Holiday Inn. And for those of you that, again, got gray hair, like Mike, the stars of that movie were Bing Crosby and Fred Astaire. Crosby was Jim Hardy. Fred Astaire was Ted Hanover. So they called the bar in this Holiday Inn Hotel Hanover and Hardee's. So a little bit of trivia you can drop at the next cocktail party. Suhas Patel. Suhas, where are you? Suhas built the Hampton Inn and the Hilton Garden Inn. He built other things here in town. He and Zach, his director, along with Tony Grayhouse, are working on plans to embellish our tourism activity and fill these hotels on weekends. The Brook at Janes Avenue apartment complex opened. It complemented very well our apartments. The rents are pretty pricey, but we needed a high-end place at Boughton, south of the mall, or Boughton and Janes, next to 355. It's easy access for people to travel throughout Chicagoland. Oh, by the way, I'm back to the hotel in a minute. I've talked to business travelers. A lot of people stay in our hotels as business travelers because they can stay here for a rack rate of $150, $180. Wait till after rush, drive downtown, do their business. It's only like 40 minutes down there. And you'll drive that much in a cab to get from north of the river sometimes to the McCormick place. They drive downtown. They don't have to pay $75 a night for parking. Every time they turn around, there's not somebody expecting a gratuity for carrying their luggage. And they can come out of that room next morning and feel comfortable their car will be there. Sorry, Rom. Anyway, the rent structure here is $1,300 to $2,400 a month. Very high-end apartments, but we have the whole spectrum of apartments now, just like we have houses from $90,000 single family up to $1 million now in Bolingbrook. Promenade Apartments, Camille, Halim, and Hani Oewad, I've introduced them before. I'm told they're here. Where you at? Where you at, guys? Way back there. Camille and Hani, they bought, well, actually, Camille bought it. Hanny's doing the project. They've totally taken those 475 units, and they're gutting every one of them, putting in new flooring, new appliances, marble countertops. They put on balconies on every one of them, and they've taken an apartment complex that was a nightmare for police, continual calls, problems, etc. And they've cleaned it up, and they're up to almost 2/3 of the apartments. Another year or two, they'll have rehabbed all 475 apartments. So thank you for your huge investment in Bolingbrook. Americana Estates, the surplus land after we bought the land for a stormwater system, we subdivided and put on the market, and of course, right at that time, the market tanked. So they sat for a while, but the sales have picked up. We had more than 50% of lots have been sold. 6 lots received occupancy in this past year, and 1 went on a permit. The average price is $747,000. One's at $1 million. And 53 lots left for sale. These are some of the homes. We're very proud of it. It's right adjacent to the golf course. Bluebell Ridge by Harts. They're completing the Bella Vista subdivision on Weber Road in Hastert, but they also now have purchased the land right across the street for Portillo's. That empty field that's been there forever that people say it's where all the coyotes live. That's where all the skunks live. Everything lives there. They have bought it, and they're going to build more of the units they're building in Hastert and 111th Street. Be nice units, so sales price will be $240,000, averaging $275,000. A nice fit in that part of Bolingbrook. A big announcement that I'm very happy to see, Mark Mastroraco and Mike Phillips. I've known Mike since forever. Mark's representing Pulte, who's representing Del Webb. They are purchasing land on the west side of the golf course for you to play golf, holes 15 and 16. They're going to build single-family homes, a Del Webb community. Now, Del Webb just doesn't go anywhere. There's going to be 2 phases, 52 acres, 150 units. They expect to sell out in 4 years. Every house, again, single-family, first floor living area, second floor, but that's for the children to stay. You don't have to go up there because it's restricted to seniors. Every house is going to have a golf course garage. They will have cart access to the course off of holes 15 and 16 to the clubhouse. Whether they play golf or not doesn't matter. They can ride over to have dinner, lunch, have a cocktail, or they can come over and play golf. And as part of their membership package, homeowners package, everyone will have purchased for them for at least 2 years a social membership here at the club, which will give them discounts and use of the clubhouse. So it's a big plus for Bolingbrook Golf Club, which Del Webb likes a lot, and it's going to be a nice fit. Doesn't impact the schools. So it's a great project, and we're very happy. The average sales price will be $350,000. Entry level will be $295,000. So thank you, Del Webb. I didn't look. I assume the pictures were back there. Beautiful homes. Next, we have Atria. It's going to open next couple of months on Weber Road. This is the old sports bar. It's a huge senior complex, 86 assisted living units, 42 memory care units. It's a beautiful facility, and it's just huge. And the beauty of this place is everything to the east, which is that way, and to the north, is all Naperville Park District. So the people have a great view of open land that'll never be built on. And they can walk to Jewel if they like. And there's other things in walking distance. Applebee's sat empty for years and it closed. I don't have a picture of it, but ATI has bought it to put in another ATI facility. Again, nice fit. The place just doesn't work as a restaurant. Went through 3 different restaurants. None of them work, so it's going to become an ATI physical therapy facility, which is great. Brandmore's. Y'all remember Brandmore's? What a great place. Nice watering hole. They ran for 17 years, I think, and frankly, I think it's got tired. I mean, they were doing okay, but it was family owned, and now it's going to become a Beggar's Pizza, which this will be their 25th one, so these guys aren't rookies. They know what they're doing. I've been through it last week. It's really going to be nice. They've turned it a little bit into kind of a sports bar atmosphere with large screen TVs, but the restaurant and the lounge area are identical. They haven't changed that a bit, just reupholstered things. I've been trying to get them to give me a date when they're going to open. As of this morning, they still don't know. Rumor has it may be the day after the Super Bowl. Don't quite understand that, but they got 25 restaurants. I don't, so I guess it's their call. Village Ford, which has sat for years empty, been used by Desmond Roberts Advantage Chevrolet Parking. The people own that land. I bought it from Northwestern. Northwestern got the land from Joe Levy, who used to have a car dealership there. When he gave it to Northwestern as an endowment, and they turned around and flipped it to a guy who has been very difficult to work with because he doesn't need money, so he's been very particular about what he's finally agreed to sell that to Speedway for a fuel station, and the other half of the property he's going to sell to Desmond Roberts to expand his dealership. So it's really a nice win and get that ugly building torn down very soon. Thornton's is going to build a fuel station at Remington and Weber across the street from Tilted Kilt. Slim Chickens, I announced last year was going to build, but they're mainly a southern restaurant, southern Illinois and southern states, and they put the project over bid and got a little surprise on the cost of building in Chicagoland. So they put it off until this next year. Carl Jr.'s closed, and it was also along John Silver's, and again, repurposing retail or restaurants. It's going to become a Verizon store. So that's a great use, a better fit on 53. Tailgaters, Bob Zalewski. Bob's here somewhere. Where you at, Bob? Bob Zalewski. Bob is a giver, right? You need something catered, you need some help, you got a limited budget, not always, you do have to come up with it, but Bob will make it work, and he's going to put a new front on his storefront with outdoor sitting area. It's going to be repurposed, not repurposed, just refurbished, and it'll be a great fit on Boughton Road, and clean that up. Jet Bright. Jet Bright opened a car wash called, Jet Bright. The owner is a longtime resident of Bolingbrook, a great guy, another guy that's always there when people need help. I could tell you things he paid for people who didn't have the money to do it, but he doesn't want people to know about that, and the people that got the money don't want to know about it, but he's always there. And I say, hey, I need some help with this. How much you need? First question, how much you need? Dave D'Alessandro, sitting right here. Stand up, Dave. Dave's got 7 car washes, Jet Brights throughout Chicagoland, and he built his corporate headquarters on the other side of the street. That's it right there, which I still haven't got a chance to see it yet. Well, you're always traveling or something. Anyway, planning. Dave's got that on the east side of town, near the mall. Vic Jackowitz. Vic, where are you? He's there somewhere. Victor? Don't see you. Oh, back there. He has a car wash, Vic's Car Wash at Fifth Street in Boughton, the center of town. And I don't think Bob Lambert's here, but Bob Lambert has the car wash on Weber Road, Domar. So we have all 3 geographic, Bolingbrook's several miles long. So one on east side, west side, and center. That was a bit of a plan, folks. The bowling alley, a little disturbing on a bowling alley. It was sold at auction about 2 months ago. The group that bought it never bothered to come see us before they bought it. So they have no clue what they're going to do with it. So we're in the same position we was before it was sold, except now we have a gentleman that bought it and he's got 4 or 5 ideas, none of which we like, but we'll get there sometime. Well, I didn't necessarily want a bowling alley, but I want something that's going to spiff that place up. Look at it, you know. I don't think Brunswick put a dime in it for the last 20 years. Aldi's, Expander store at 53 and 55 is doing very well. The empty shopping center. A lot of people ask, what's going on with the Century Tile Center at 53 in Boughton? The Hinman Company out of Kalamazoo, Michigan bought that center in 1986, December. Closed on it before the end of the year, 1986. I was sworn in as mayor in November of 86. It was almost empty then. I find out a month after I'm in office, it was sold. Yes, magical. I become mayor, and a month later, this place gets rehabbed. They haven't put a dime in it since. They're paying $212,000 a year property tax on that facility. So they must have a lot of cash. And for years, they wouldn't even consider selling it. Well, I'm told now they're willing to sell it. But you know what they want for it? They want a net $1 million an acre. It's about twice what it's worth. So it's not necessarily genuine. Fiore Landscaping bought a real ugly field at the north end of Bolingbrook, north Route 53 that was really tacky looking, and they've rehabbed it. They're not quite done with it, but it's a wholesale landscape business. A couple people I'd like to quickly mention that didn't necessarily, well, they've done a lot of things. Nick Seidel's here. His father's Ben Seidel, Midwest Fuel Injection, corporate headquarters. They came here with 2 stores. They now have 12 in 6 states. Paul Lombardo's here. This guy touches things and makes money on everything. Beacons Mover to town and a lot of other things. A fabulous guy, and someday we'll be reading about him on the front page of Cranes. Werner Kusch, Chicago Executive Productions. Fascinating business. It's been in Bolingbrook for, I don't know, 20 years, maybe more. They make exhibits that are used in Las Vegas for those large conventions. I've got a chance at tourist facility. They got a wood shop in the back, and I don't want to make it sound like it's somebody's garage. Huge. They can do anything with wood and create any kind of hundreds of thousands of dollars in exhibits in these various conventions throughout the United States. They ship them all over the country. They store a lot of them here, and he's a great guy. Terry Winnemute spent years kind of in politics, county board member, and finally said, enough of that, worked for us for a while. Now she runs a trucking business here in Bolingbrook, got 25 or 30 employees. Terry's a great woman, many of you know her. McShane Construction, I think they built the first building here in Bolingbrook, or the second, but one of the 2. Jim McShane, great guy, he's been here many times, not here today. Molly and Dan McShane are here. They bought the property next to the hospital, about 1 billion square feet. It's about 40% leased. It's a great development. Steve Spaninitis helped make that deal work. Stevie Spaninitis, oh Mongo. Stevie, stand up and wave. Been around forever. Mike Borrow from FCL was going to be here, but had to cancel. Dave Gizowitz here. Dave, where are you? I want to say hello to you anyway. Oh, right in front here. Dave's a financial guy at GNW. They came here with, I think, around 300 employees, and now they're, close to 600 100. The route of space. Now, you other mayors, you do not talk to these people. They're here. They're not in Lamont. They're not in Naperville. They're not in Woodridge. No, it's a great company. 100-plus years old, and got a plant in China. They got a plant in Canada, and our corporate's here. Bob Rubinson, General Converting. I haven't seen Bob in a while, but Bob Rubinson, his father, came here and built a. Where you at, Bob? You with the restroom? I thought that was him applauding. Bob, his father started, got a business, General Converting, and then, you think of print shop. We're not talking about, FedEx. We're talking about the front cover of magazines and so forth. Very, very creative company. Panettone, John Pagarini's here. They haven't built here in years, so John, I'm curious as to why you're here. Tell me when we're done. Steve Roller, Ferrara Candy's here. They came here to build 750,000 square foot of candy. Now they got 1 million square feet of candy right down the street. Jeff Smith, my IDI's here too. Jeff, we say hello before we're finished. And we have 2 large projects we hope to announce in about 45 days that are coming here in Bolingbrook. I can't announce them yet. A couple of shout outs to a guy named Paul Farr. He ran that appliance store across from Brandmore's forever. I mean, if you had a microwave that broke, he could give you a part to fix it. Vacuum cleaner, all those little things. Most of us throw that stuff away. He could repair it. Bill Mayer's father does some of that kind of repairs, done some work for me. Paul finally sold the store to a guy named Reginald Rogers, so I'm told here, Reginald, if you please say hello, I'd appreciate it. Bobby Aiken, Larry's Lock Service, one of the oldest businesses in Bolingbrook, back in the corner. Judy Breadaway, I don't know if Judy's here or not, didn't see her, but just got out of hospital. Back over there, she's be sworn in soon. I'll swear you in today, Judy, as the 13th year as president of the Bolingbrook Senior Citizens Group. And a guy that never says no, Mike Carbonzano, who's the MC extraordinaire and does lots of charitable events. Mike, we appreciate your work. Olam Cocoa is in the process of building out here. They're a company that imports cocoa from around the world, Africa and South Africa, and they make products including Oreos. I love that place. Starbucks, Hershey's, and Swiss Miss, all right here in Bolingbrook. Legend Technology, they're here today. They buy and sell computer system and networks, a growing company located on Quadrangle. Computer Projects Illinois, called CPI, another high-tech company. They service law enforcement agencies in 33 states, the Postal Service, the Army, by hosting and safeguarding all their data and servers right here in Bolingbrook. Big-time operation. Ballard Corporation, they make plastic cards for debit and credit cards right here in town. High security there, 180 to 95 employees. BioLife Plasma Services, they deal in collecting blood, I don't know. You give blood there and they do things with it. They will be opening soon. Bay State Milling expanded here this year. They supply products for Panera, McDonald's, Campbell Soups, and others with their ingredients. Prologis is building a building that's going to house Alta equipment right across the street from Siebert Landscaping. Windy City Wire, Rich Galgano, great guy, Bolingbrook High grad, 1986. By the way, is Jason Pascavage here? He left? Well, stand up, Jason. You're never shy. Dr. Jason Pascavage, principal of Bolingbrook High School, was named Principal of the Year by a Principal Association for the 2nd year in a row. Now, I got to tell you, the population was always schools of 3,500 or more. Anyway, Windy City Wire. The reason I thought of Jason, Rich Galgano, born and raised in Bolingbrook, graduate high in 1986, started a company called Windy City Wire. He doubled his facility this year, got several hundred employees, doing very, very well. That's the kind of person you got to bring back to talk to the high school students and let them know you can do it. Susanna Mendoza, the state treasurer, is a Bolingbrook High School graduate. Grew up here, played soccer here. Those are the kind of people that we've done well at. We need to highlight the students who do well, not just at Bolingbrook, but Plainfield East, Naperville Central, Nequa, down in the south. We got kids in all those schools. Anyway, he's expanded his plant, doing well. West Liberty Foods, they came here and just put a big addition on a freezer facility. Several hundred employees are on the top employee list. Toronto Bakery, Anthony Toronto, sitting right here. They more than doubled their building on off of 55 and Joliet Road. And they'll be adding another big piece for a freezer facility soon, hopefully. And we're putting a stoplight in at St. James, which hopefully will be done by the end of the month. Again, that was held up by the state. WeatherTech. WeatherTech, of course, continues to build. They own 14 buildings of their own. They got investment in 300 properties, and they're going to be building 2 more buildings. One will be across the street from the hospital. It's going to be a large facility for his tool and die works, his research and development, a separate building, and the building in front on Remington will be a classic car museum for several hundred cars, which they will have meetings there and open for children to view and so forth. Fascinating, got Dave McNeil. And then he's also going to build a building. He's also going to build a building on Weber and Hassert, and there's a drawing of it. There'll be 3 rows of buildings, commercial and retail at Weber and Hassert. And he's going to donate the property on the west end, which is to your left. There's about 67 parking spots there to the Park District because the soccer fields never have enough parking. So that's the kind of guy Dave McNeil is. He's going to provide that to help continue soccer programs that we're able to foster here in Bolingbrook. Andy's Frozen Custard. Andy is on Weber Road. He's going to build a second facility. That building there, that's the First Midwest Bank building. That building has been torn down. It will become an Andy's Custard, hopefully this spring. We had other expansions with Linux came to town, Bolingbrook Bank and Trust demolished that ugly KFC building and opened, Optima Lab, the Holiday Inn I mentioned, Pratik Fluid Transfer, Villains and Heroes Academy, Custom Community Relations had a grand opening for Tony Greathouse. Tony, there's the coloring book. This is a great coloring book. It's how many hundreds of Walmarts now sell it, Tony? How many? 227 Walmarts are now selling it. Of course, she's hoping for more, but the woman's got more energy than ComEd. And McDonald's. McDonald's had a McDonald's Victory in Boughton, one of their original. They knocked it down and rebuilt this one. The original McDonald's opened in 1978. Got to be a lot of money in those burgers, right? Senate bill. That was an experience. I told a guy, work with me, you know. Senate Bill 1451. Springfield is, I got about 3 more topics. Springfield is dysfunctional. I think everybody knows that. You can't pick up the nightly, or watch the nightly news or pick up a paper. They can't get anything done. And it's not just the Democrats, it's the Democrats and Republicans. You see the same thing in Washington. I'm telling you, they'll fight over anything. And it's just unfortunate they can't sit down and talk and move forward on some of these topics that are critical. But then on the other hand, they shove through bills like this one, the small cell bill, 1451. They want to put small cell towers in highly populated areas like suburban Chicago. Not so much downstate, they don't have that many phone calls to require this. But they want to put small cell towers on utility poles. And they will look like this. Now that one's not so bad. But if you don't have a stoplight to support it, they want to put up their own pole. Then you have one that looks like this, which has more than one cell tower on it in the residential areas, and then there's like this. Those aren't quite so attractive, and there's one that's actually worse than that. What this Senate Bill 1451 did was usurp local control, meaning the telecom companies, Verizon, AT&T, Sprint, T-Mobile, all can come in and just put them up wherever they want without having to get any local approval. Now, we're not concerned about permit fees, but we don't want to make sure that one doesn't get put in the middle of your front yard. You know, there's ways to put these things in and be discreet about it without just shoving them in anywhere they want. But that's what they do. But you know why they get this bill passed in Springfield? You know why? Yeah. Money. Thousands, I got some numbers from Springfield. Hundreds of thousands of dollars are spent to legislators. And I'm not saying they're bought and sold, but they're certainly influenced by the amount of money they weigh in on these projects. 2 more sections, folks. I'm going to read this one because you'll read about it in the blog pages tonight. It'll be twisted and torn. This is basically a residence. Garbage or refuse collection. Every year I get calls from residents who have just moved into the village and they want to know why we don't have what are called toters. Those are toters. Some people call them garbage cans, but they're actually in the industry called toters. They've usually moved from a community that has a town that has alleys, like Chicago, or Joliet, or Aurora, older communities that have alleys behind houses, which they fit very well in the alley. We don't have an alley in Bolingbrook. So there's really no place to put them. That's the issue. It's not as simplistic as some seem to think. You just hand out toters. The other towns that have toters, to me, have a high tolerance for what the front yard of a house looks like. So I drive through these towns and I see those things, put it back, please. See those things sitting in front of garage doors, 24/7, 365 days a year. I think that's ugly. Maybe it's just me. Bolingbrook has had a bag program, a blue bin program, for over 40 years. You put out a garbage bag in the morning, you come home at night, it's gone. No can, no toter, no nothing. You got a blue bin. Now, people don't like a blue bin where you put recycling because it blows around. If you pack it right, it won't blow around. They claim that the bag, the animals go after it. Well, they do if you put it the night before. Raccoons, and this year we were flooded with skunks like every other community in Chicagoland, although you would think in reading the blog pages we had all the skunks in the world in Bolingbrook. Some of our skunks have 2 feet. Anyway. I can't help myself. Anyway, it's just gone on and on and on about toters. We have our garbage collections on the property tax bill. That was started over 4 years ago, and the average house in town was plus or minus $10,000. Every house is about the same price. So it's put on a property tax bill. Well, that's changed. We now have houses from $90,000 to $1 million. And since it's on the property tax bill, the person who's got the $90,000 home pays this much for garbage. The person who's got the average home pays this much. The person who's got the $1 million home pays 10 times as much for the same service. And we know that people generate about the same amount of refuse. So they want to go to toters. So we're looking at allowing toters. But we'll have to move to direct billing and take it off the property tax bill and go to direct billing. And it'll cost about $21 a month, which is the same rate it's been all year before toters. That's what the rate is in most neighboring communities. Woodridge and others, we've done a survey that'll be posted on a webpage soon. So the price is not changing, it's not going up, but people that want a toter will be paying $2 to $3 a month more to have that toter. It's strictly an option. You don't have to go to it, because a lot of people said, do we have to go to toters? No. I won't, I know a lot of people won't, but the people who want toters are relentless. So we're going to try and work out a way to do that with direct billing, and we're going to be rolling it out, but it's a very complicated program, requires a lot of things to be changed. That we're not quite ready to pass. Staff is working on it. Until staff gets it done, it's not going to go to the public board. And if anybody's got a question, feel free to call Lucas Rickelman or myself, and I'll have the conversation with you. But it's not ready for a public board meeting discussion until we get a plan that we think we can support, that makes sense. You know, it's interesting, the new McDonald's, we forced McDonald's to put their refuse containers, dumpsters if you will, in enclosures behind the store. But yet people want to put their garbage cans in front of their house. I don't get that. But that's what people want. Our garbage program, one more point, is a Cadillac program. It includes garbage, recycling, lawn waste, no stickers, electronics pickup at your home. You don't have to drop it off somewhere. Appliance pickup, Christmas tree pickup at your home. You don't have to drive it across town. And I know this is still used in business community, so why is he telling us all this? You can't believe what you read about this program and how it's being distorted. And it's not a simple thing to do. Roots, our hauler, has been a long time. Garbage trucks cost $200,000 plus each. They go up and down every street 3 times, refuse, recycling, and lawn waste. We want to make this move judiciously and smart, and not just because a couple of people want a toter. We may get there, but it's going to take some work to get there, and it's going to take some more study. So bear with us. In closing, I just got some philosophical comments, which I don't generally share. Well, maybe I do. In closing, I'd like to make a general comment about the state of our government today, federal, state, and local. Locally, I'm very proud of the current government services we provide. Police, fire, public service, snow removal. That's the core services villages do. We've been doing garbage, not as a favor, but just because it was easy to do in the early years. It's changed. It's inherently unfair to charge somebody 6, 7, 8 times the amount to pick up the same thing. Somebody else gets much less. But anyway, government costs money to support these services, and most budgets are employees, benefits, and salaries. Candidly speaking, especially in the state of Illinois, we have to give employees raises every year. I've had people say, you can't give you raises. If you don't give a raise, they'll bring in an arbitrator who will tell you what the raise is going to be. I'm not knocking it, that's the system. An arbitrator will decide. The employees in XYZ towns around you got this, you have to match it. That's the way the system works for public employees in Illinois. My point in all that is not the fact they're getting raises. My point is, if cost of living is 2.5, we have to be prepared to come up with 2.5% raise for our public employees. Because once you settle with 1 or 2 unions, then it's me too. You know, hey, they got it, they got it. And the non-union employees, and out of 300 some employees, we have what, 40 non-union? So they get the same thing. So 2.5% we have to come up with. Now in Bolingbrook's case, that is about, and also supplies and other things go up that much. In our case, that amounts to about $1.75 million a year, new money we got to come up with. Somehow we got to come up with $1.75 million. Public pensions every year go up by 3%. So we have to come up with that too, and it's compounded annually. Our payrolls for retirees, especially in police and fire, are going to exceed perhaps our regular employees, and they get 3%, and our regular employees get 2.5%. So they're almost better off being retired. To fund these things, we either raise property taxes, a gas tax, a hotel tax, or some kind of new tax. We don't print money. Now, there are those who say, well, cut the fat. That's the favorite thing people say, cut the fat. Want to cut public services or snow plowing? No, I got to get to work. Police? No, we probably need more. Fire? Oh, no, we need AMTs. Nobody wants to cut anything. We have combined police and fire, eliminating $150 grand a year fire chief, seamless transition. We converted LED lights this year to save hundreds of thousands of dollars over that. We don't have any staff travel to speak of anymore. Elected officials have no travel budget. We combined different other departments, public services and planning. We've rolled it together. Is there something else we can do? Probably. But is it going to amount to $1.75 million? No. That's new money. Nothing's free. We all know that. There's no such thing as a free lunch. I've watched how the states look for money. They created casinos with that new pot of money that's now spent. Then we saw off-track betting. Guess what? That money's now spent. Then video gaming, which we don't allow, by the way, but video gaming money's going to run out in a couple years because that's going to be spent. So these communities trying to keep up with this. Now they're coming up with something else, and Illinois is considering it to legalize marijuana. 10 or so states across the country are going to have legalized it. Illinois is looking at it. I'm not here to be for or against legalizing marijuana. And I certainly think it's wonderful if it's helped with somebody that's got a medical situation, it helps them. I'm not opposed to that. But folks, these people aren't legalizing it for that reason. They're legalizing it for money, billions of dollars. And that'll be good for what, 5, 6, 10-year run? And you know what'll happen then? It'll be spent too. And my only question is for all of you to think about and maybe tell your legislators you talk to them, what are we going to do then? The demand for public services never declines. We get a snowfall of a ½ inch. Where's the salt trucks? How come there's not a plow? I understand that. I do understand that. But the reality is it costs money. And we do as best we can. And I'm going to quit before I get carried away. Thank you for coming. Hope you enjoyed it. Where's Randy?